Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society, 3 things will be true in the future. 1. Apes will evolve the ability to speak and ride horses. 2. Mankind will be driven underground and develop telekinetic abilities. 3. Nintendo's Black Friday deal will be a Switch bundled with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It's dangerous to go alone, so the Nintendo Cartridge Society goes with you. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers, and I am joined, as I am always joined, by my co-host, Mark Mitchell. We've got a good show for you today. We're going to be talking about the news from the week, including details on the Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope DLC, and, of course, Nintendo's Black Friday deals. And then on Thursday, we are definitively ranking the opening chapters from the Zelda games. But, Mark, in the meantime, how is it going?
It's going great. We had a kind of a different cold open at first, but we eventually worked it around to being Planet of the Apes related.
That's right.
Yeah, and that just makes me really happy. You get the first Planet of the Apes in there,
yeah,
a little bit of the
second Planet of the Apes. Look, the second Planet of the Apes, and look, we're talking like the original Planet of the Apes is from the 60s, right? We're talking old movies there.
Yes.
Mark, can I tell you about a not old movie that I watched this weekend?
Oh, yeah, please.
In fact, a brand new movie that I watched this weekend. I saw Weird, the Weird Al movie.
Right. I forgot that came out. How was that?
It was really, really good.
Oh, yeah?
It's very funny. It is not at all real. It's all made up crazy stuff. It's sometimes a parody of biopics. Sometimes it's a parody of 80s action movies. And it's got a ton of celebrity cameos in it that were really, really fun.
I didn't realize that. I did not realize that it was not like an actual biopic.
No, it is. It is really not.
That's really funny. Where can I watch this?
Only on the Roku channel. By the way, no free ads. This is not an ad.
That's right.
This is not an ad for the Roku channel.
No.
So look, you know someone in your life who has a Roku. Go use their Roku and watch the movie. It is great. I really, really enjoyed it.
That's awesome.
Thought it was very fun. Mark, here's something else that, can I call it very fun? No free ads. Sonic Forces, my copy of it. Would you like to borrow it? My copy of it for the Nintendo Switch. You can get on a list to do so. All you gotta do is email us at nintendocartridgesociety@gmail.com and give us a mailing address where we can send you through the mail, USPS, my copy of Sonic Forces. You play it for as long as you want. You send it back. I've paid for postage both ways. I don't pay you for your time playing the game. That's on you. That's an expense to you. I'm sorry. And that's it. It's a perfect borrowing program.
You know, we are in the season of giving. So, Patrick, I don't want to invent a new rule for the Sonic borrowing Sonic Forces. Oh my gosh, borrowing program.
What's happening?
But do you think, as a fun last-minute stocking stuffer, somebody could put somebody else's name on the Sonic Forces borrowing program list and then like write a note saying like, for the holidays,
your name has been added to the Sonic Forces. Here's the thing. I would double check with that person first before you send me their address. Just, you know what I mean?
Well, you could still put your address on it as the gift giver.
Right.
And then eventually, years from now,
when it finally comes through, yes. Yeah, the Sonic Forces borrowing program list is long. Also, it's totally possible that when you get it, it's a copy of Untitled Goose Game instead of Sonic Forces.
Right.
I didn't say that yet. So I would say this is not a good Christmas gift.
Okay, and I'm hearing what you're saying, but I'm saying it's an option.
It's an option.
If you know somebody who needs a little Sonic Forces in their life someday.
Such like a little amount of Sonic Forces.
Well, here's another thing you can do.
Yeah.
In the spirit of giving, you can leave Patrick and I and the show a 5-star review on.
In fact, you should do it for the show. Don't rate us individually.
Yeah, no, you're right.
on
you're
podcast apps. That's not fun.
You're right. You can leave the show a 5-star review on the on the Apple Podcast, on Spotify, or anywhere that you get your podcasts. We appreciate it so much when you do. It helps people find the show. Patrick and I love reading your reviews. And if you leave us a review on the US Apple Podcast Store, we can see it and we'll give you a shout out on the show. But if you leave us a review anywhere else, or you thumbs up us or favorite us, whatever you can do on your podcatcher, we still really appreciate it. We just can't see it, but we want to give you a shout out. So let us know, hit us up, send us an email, send us a message on Twitter, and we'll give you a thanks on the show.
Yeah, we appreciate it when you do that. Also, if you have not already joined the NCS Discord, you can. It's a bunch of people hanging out talking about Nintendo stuff, and teaming up in Splatoon and looking for game recommendations and all kinds of fun stuff like that. Everyone is super chill and fun and funny and interested and interesting. So get in there. Just send us an email. Hit us up on Twitter. We will happily let you in. All right, Mark, let's get into what we've been playing this week. I think the headline for this week is Persona 5.
Yeah, I continue to play Persona 5 Royal. How far are you in Persona 5 Royal?
Ooh, still not very far.
Okay.
I have gotten out of the first chunk of the castle that you encounter on your way to school the first time. And have just started the actual school day after that.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just sub 2 hours into the game. So I'm not very far. I gotta say I am struggling at all the same struggle points that I had when I first tried to play Persona 5. That I just want it to kind of let me go. And I feel like maybe I'm teetering right on the edge of where it lets me go, but maybe not.
So I would say, again, no real spoilers, but I would say right at about maybe where I was last week. So 3.5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Basically the next time you go into the palace to really kind of attempt to run at the treasure, the game right around that time just dumps a ton of systems on you. So as you're going through that palace, there's a lot thrown at you, and it does begin to open up the things you can do between school days and stuff like that. It does it's really I know I think this is probably how a lot of the Persona games are, but this is the first one I've been playing, and I kind of like the way that what it does is, yes, something happens pretty much every day, but it's not every day you have the ability to do the same activities. It's okay, sometimes they're going to jump, you're going to be in school, a teacher's going to ask you a question, and then it's going to jump you to the evening, and you basically just have to go to bed.
Yeah.
Other times, you have a little agency before school and a little agency after school, and then it's going to jump you to the evening. That part of it's kind of interesting. Here's one thing. So I have beat that first palace, and I am beginning the second palace. And one thing that I don't really know what to do with is that I think I, on the one hand, from a remove, am enjoying my time with Persona 5 Royal, where I'm beginning to understand some of the systems and, grow a bond with the characters and everything. But it's not really bringing me any joy.
That's interesting.
I'm not having to I wouldn't say I'm having fun playing it.
Right.
So I don't really know what to do, because it's such a big time commitment, and I don't dislike my time with it, but I am not having fun.
Right. Well, and so how you're 5-ish hours into the game
I'm a little over 5 hours.
I saw your I checked your profile before coming over today, and I saw it said about 5 hours. 5 hours or more. And I recognize that is still early for an RPG, right?
Totally.
I've definitely played RPGs that I haven't fallen in love with until the 10-hour mark, or whatever. And so I'm not gonna give up on this game before I've given it a real honest try. But yeah, I mean, there are the last time I played, when I did 45 minutes ish, straight, which is not a lot of time really. But man, it felt like a lot of time. There's just, I don't love the characters yet. I don't love the way the story is told yet. I don't love that I don't have a lot of control over anything. And that the combat at this point feels just shallow as anything. which is the beginning of any RPG. So like I know I'm just not there yet. But yeah, it's hard to like motivate myself back to it when it's like, during your like first run at this palace, that like on two separate occasions it like flashes ahead to the future where like you're being
I
interrogated.
hate this storytelling device.
And I'm like, and it's like then you get a couple like options to like respond in different ways that are all the same thing, and then you flash back to, and it's like, what is the point of this?
I know.
I don't get it at all.
I don't either. I'm assuming / hoping that like it does not go through the entire game, but it's kind of like what I was talking about last week, where I feel like a lot of the dialogue is just kind of like pointless and repetitive because you flash forward to the future. You're talking to this agent,
yes,
and she's like, so that like you expect me to believe that that's how you like met this person,
right? And then like you get the two options of like ... or like, what do you want me to say? And it's like, what? There's no functional difference between these responses. Why are you making me choose?
and then it just like no new information is revealed. Like, right. I'm 100% with you, where it's like, because I mean, how many times did I start Dragon Quest XI's Echoes of the Elusive Age Definitive Edition for the Nintendo Switch before I actually got into it and played it? And I keep thinking also about like Tokyo Mirage Sessions, where the first few hours of that game is really chunky as well. Like the first kind of like dungeon area you go through is really boring, really bad. The combat doesn't start to get fun until way later. Which is also,
all these things are also true of every Fire Emblem game,
right?
Most of the Final Fantasies. Like, I know that these games start bad.
But there's something for me about like the world of Persona 5, which is purposefully like really bleak. I have to say the game deals with like pretty heavy subject matter.
Yes.
But I feel like it does it so clumsily and not in a very like satisfying way, because it talks about some of the like terrible things that adults can do, but it doesn't commit to it. I don't feel like it like pulls back in a way that is very unsatisfying to me.
Pulls back? What do you mean by that?
Well,
like go.
Well, I guess like what I mean is that I don't know. I feel like almost even in just like the language that it uses to describe the things that are happening.
Yeah.
It feels almost like afraid to commit to what it is trying to express.
Yeah.
And so it uses language that like softens what is happening, which feels almost like a cheat to me.
Yeah, well, and that's
like,
interesting.
It doesn't really want to engage
with the topics.
Yeah.
But like, I can also see that as like a either cultural or thematic thing too, because I feel like all of the language is soft, right? Like, characters spend almost all of their time not actually talking about what they're talking about, or just like responding like incredulously to you not talking about, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like there's very little talking about what they're actually talking about. And I wonder if that is part of a like like the ambivalence about these things, or like trying to ignore them out of politeness, like only allows them to fester. Like that feels, or just sort of like the mundane evil of like the cops that pick you up for being like truant at the beginning of that first day of school, where it's like, well, why do they have to be jerks to you? And it's like, well, they just have to, because like that's their job, and like it's mundane, and like that's where the bad stuff is. It's just out of this like excessive politeness or rule following or whatever, which would also be like consistent with the hero being like this Joker character, all of which I don't understand at this point early enough in the narrative. But so like I'm ready, I'm primed for like these things to pay off and be meaningful. But I feel like I'm in pre-meaningful stage at this point.
And I'm just a little nervous about like how long it's going to take me to get there. One thing I am enjoying, and again, when like your structure opens up a little bit, which you're very close to, like another like maybe hour or so, and you begin to like experience this sort of stuff, is the amount of things you can do in the world and like how you choose to spend your time. Because like you have an afternoon, but doing one activity like studying or reading or going to the movies or taking a part-time job, like it's this really interesting balance of, like, well, I could study in the library and, either increase my knowledge or my guts, or I could go to my part-time job at the like 777 and earn, some money.
Right.
Like, and all of them have like pros and cons. And so if you're playing online, you can see like what other people did that day. So it kind of gives you an idea of like, if you're not sure, like where you can spend your time. So that's a really interesting system. It actually kind of reminds me, it makes me wonder like how much Three Houses was inspired by Persona, or maybe specifically Persona 5. Again, I haven't played any of the other ones. But so again, it's like academically I'm enjoying it, but when I'm like actually engaged with it, it doesn't bring me happiness.
So okay, that you did start with that, and I wanted to ask this question when you first said it. Do you think that you are enjoying it when you are reflecting on it, but not actually enjoying it while you're doing it? Is that like as like later you're thinking about what you did, you're like, oh, that was neat.
No, I actually think it's like when I am playing it, it's almost like I'm removed from it, and I'm like, oh, like that is an interesting system. Like I recognize that this is interesting. I recognize that this, like thematically is interesting, and yet I am not
having fun.
I'm not necessarily having like I don't. It doesn't fill me with the same sense of like joy or wonder, that other games. I was talking to friend of the show and previous guest Connor McCabe, and he just recently played Fallout 3 for the first time, and it just made me think how much like I loved Fallout 3 and how like I couldn't wait to get back to it when I played it for the first time and like all that kind of stuff, and how I am not feeling that on Persona 5.
Right. Which again, like, and that's all stuff I get, and there are, and look, I'm going to talk about Shovel Knight in a couple minutes. So like I understand sometimes there are just games that like get you, right? They just get into you and you're like, that's all I want to think about. That's all I want to play. This is something that excites me while it's happening. Something that excites me when the controller isn't in my hand. All of that kind of stuff. And for whatever reason, but neither of us have gotten there with Persona 5 Royal yet. And I know I've only played 2 hours of this game, and it's not fair for me to be talking about it at all. But that's how I'm feeling. That's how you're feeling.
Yeah, exactly. And not enough where I'm like ready to quit it.
Right.
Because I know so many people whose opinions I respect who really love this game. And so it's just like, I think I'm just not far enough into it.
Right.
Plus,
we both spent $60 on this game. That's real money.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely played games that I spent $60 for like less.
Well, yes.
So
that's true. That is true. Mark, you've also been playing Splatoon?
That's right. Well, just because the Splatfest is the next Splatfest is this weekend, and so I wanted to get my like t-shirt and choose the team.
Yeah, I gotta hop in and do that too.
Like all that kind of stuff. So going back to Splatoon 3, played last night a couple of rounds of Turf War, was reminded how like terrible I am at Turf War, but that's what these Splatfests are, you gotta rep your team. But I'm also like, am I like, is my team better off if I don't participate? Like that could be true.
Yeah, maybe. Who are you repping?
Grass type.
Your grass type. So you're going with your.
I mean, it was a solemn promise. Yeah.
Okay.
The results of our episode where we scientifically determined which starter type was our favorite, I guess.
I think just which type we were like innately.
Yes.
Right? Which means I got to go with water type because that's where the cards landed for me. Despite the fact that Sobble's in that lineup, and I don't care for Sobble.
Yep.
So yeah, I gotta hop in and do that too. I continue to play the Shovel Knight games. I'm very near the end of Shovel of Hope, the like main Shovel Knight thing. And I was trying to like conceptualize just like what when I think of like the Shovel Knight games, like what is it that like holds them together? And the first thought that popped in my head, I don't think this is right, but it popped in my head, so I'm saying it anyway, is that the premise of Shovel Knight is what if a video game was good? It's just everything is so wonderfully designed, and the like movement and combat is so like satisfying and clicky and fun. And the levels are like perfectly designed, and I just love the game. I just really love the game. And I'm looking forward to moving on from Shovel of Hope to Plague of Shadows, which is the one campaign that like I never finished. And so I'm excited to like dig into it.
So Shovel of Hope, and I think you said this at the beginning, Shovel of Hope is the name now for the first game in like a New Hope type renaming.
That is almost certainly why it is called Shovel of Hope.
Oh, I see. Yes.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. That makes sense.
Yep. And Plague of Shadows is the Plague Knight.
Yeah, I remember you saying that that one didn't jive with you for whatever reason.
It's weird. Like the mobility is odd because a lot of it is based on you like throwing potions and being propelled by them. And so you have to like, and there's like a double jump mechanic too. So you sort of have to jump, throw the potion, and then use the double jump after that to sort of like correct where you're actually going to land. And it just means that you have to like really think out everything that you're going to do, because Plague Knight can't really jump a respectable height on his own without like all these assisted modes of moving around.
Well, maybe it'll be like, when you listen to an album from a new album from an artist and you're like, I don't think so. And then like years later you come back to it and you're like, why did I not appreciate this the first time?
Yeah, this one's actually good. But I mean, we'll see. Maybe it won't be good, and I'll get frustrated, and I'll stop talking about Shovel Knight. Not too likely though. All right, Mark. That's what we've been playing this week. Let's get into the new releases and what we might be playing next week.
It's here. I guess. Actually, now that I'm saying that, I feel like the reason why. Well, today, Tuesday, November 8th, Sonic Frontiers is released, and I feel like it marks a momentous moment for the show, even though because of the Sonic Forces borrowing program, even though I think it doesn't, it's just been a long time since we've had a mainline Sonic game.
Right, and so the question becomes like, does Sonic Forces become supplanted by Sonic Frontiers? Do I buy Sonic Frontiers and play it for like 20 minutes and decide it's not for me and like just add it to the pile? Like, what do we do?
Yeah. My feeling is nothing.
My feeling is also nothing.
Yeah, but I guess we'll see. Yeah.
The Sonic Forces borrowing program also came out of a whim. If the whims lead us that way, then they lead us that way.
Also released today on the Switch is Sifu.
Sifu, which has previously been out on the PlayStation consoles, was looking kind of rough in the Nintendo Direct that showed it off, but it's out on Tuesday.
Also on Thursday, November 10th, Garfield Lasagna Party is released on Switch.
Which, what do we think that is? What do we think Garfield Lasagna Party is?
Well, I cheated because I looked up what Garfield Lasagna Party is. It's like a Mario Party-esque party game.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I have to say, I'm on the record on this show being a big booster for really specific sim games, like bus driver simulator and that
Power
sort of
wash
thing.
Simulator.
Yeah. But I will say my other favorite genre of games is, of course, Garfield licensed games.
Yes, of course. So Garfield Kart. I guess it was Hello Kitty Cruisers.
yeah. That's right. But also, this reminded me that Mario Party 1 and 2 released last week on the Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack, the Nintendo 64, and we forgot to mention it. So Mario Party 1 and 2.
Both of them at the same time available. A little weird that like there are like courses and characters in these games that need to be unlocked through like regular play. When do you think they're going to put out the what are they called, the SP versions of those games?
I don't feel like they've been doing that at all for N64 games.
Yeah, not yet. But like they did do it like eventually for the Super Nintendo games for like Punch Out and Mario Kart and like all these others, where it's like, oh yeah, you don't have to like go through the trouble of unlocking stuff. You can just, because I feel like so many people who are accessing these things are people who had these games growing up, no longer have the means to play them, but like unlocked everything back in the day.
Right.
And so it would just be nice to have the option to play as, everything. I found this when I was playing Wave Race 64, that there were all of these like the the trick courses and just like the regular like race courses that I had remembered but didn't have unlocked in this fresh version of the game. I was like, dang, like I just wanted to like stroll down memory lane and like see some of these late game levels, and they're just not there.
Yeah,
or they're there, but I've got to earn them again.
Yeah, hopefully they will do SP versions. I'm also hoping, and I'm sure that there are technical reasons why this doesn't exist, that when they bring SP versions, my wish is that they bring like 30-second rewind to the N64 games too.
Oh, that would be
I
nice.
do miss that.
Yeah. Yep, I miss it too.
And then on Friday, November 11th, Tactics Ogre Reborn is released.
So now this is interesting. Tactics Ogre Reborn is a remake of one of the Tactics Ogres game, which is a remake of another game entirely. And this thing is looking pretty good. It's looking like classic Square Enix tactical RPG. With like the graphics are a little bit smoothed out, it looks like, but like still looking pretty like pixely and chunky and good. I'm interested in seeing how this is received, and like I've never really gotten into any of the either be it Final Fantasy Tactics or the Tactics Ogre games, but I would like to.
And then also on Friday, Resident Evil 2 Cloud is released digitally, and then a game called Save Room is released.
So Save Room, do you know about Save Room? Save Room is a puzzle game that is so in Resident Evil 4 how you have like an inventory and you have to like move like your guns and whatever around. That's all Save Room is.
Oh, so it's like a puzzle game.
It's like a puzzle
that
game,
is all
yes.
about like the inventory management.
Yes.
That's
of Resident Evil 4.
That's very clever.
And so that's great. I love it that it's releasing on the same day as Resident Evil 2, the cloud version on Switch. Which, by the way, what a great, not the cloud version, but what a great version of Resident Evil 2 this remake is. It's have you played?
Yes, I did. I played because you can choose two paths to do, and I did Rebecca's. But I never did
Claire or Leon.
It must have been Claire. I never did, but I didn't play Leon's.
Right. Rebecca is the Resident Evil 0 protagonist.
Oh, okay.
We should play those again. Resident Evils 2 and 3. Not on the Switch, though.
Although we did say, maybe if it goes on sale, we'll try out a cloud version.
Are these full price, do we think?
They have to be. I'm
be.
sure they are.
All right. Well, someday we'll actually commit to doing these things. Mark, is there anything in these new releases that you are interested in?
No.
All right. Well, let's close out this segment. Which brings us to a regular segment on our show. It is time for 433. In 1952, American composer John Cage wrote a piece called 433, wherein a performer or a group of performers didn't play their instruments for 4 minutes and 33 seconds. For the purposes of this show, our instruments are talking about Nintendo. So, for the duration of one performance, 433, Mark and I will talk about something not at all Nintendo related, thus fulfilling the contract of the piece. Last week, we talked about the villains from the 90s Disney movies and ranked them. We got around to ranking them, I'm pretty sure. Today, we're going to be doing the same, but with the cute animal sidekicks of the Disney films from the 1990s. We're using the same list as before, so we had to remember who the cute animal sidekicks are in each one of these movies. Mark, how do you think you're going to do in this? Do you remember cute animal sidekicks?
Ooh, I think I'll do pretty good, and I'll remember... I don't know that I'll remember names. Names might be tough.
Names might be tough, but like we'll describe them for sure.
Starting
with one that I actually don't know for sure. The Rescuers Down Under.
Okay, well, do we count the main mice?
Bernard and Bianca do not count.
Okay, then I feel like the cute animal sidekick...
Is the albatross?
The albatross, or like the lizard that they're locked in when they go to the McLeach's house or whatever.
There's a lizard?
There's like a little like lizard that is really hyperactive. I don't know the Rescuers Down Under has one because
look, we're tossing it out.
Bernard and Bianca are the cute animal sidekicks, right?
What a great point. And if they are the cute animal sidekicks, then I think they're number one.
And speaking of maybe they don't have one, Beauty and the Beast. The only like animal sidekick in it is Belle's horse.
Well, what about the footstool? The footstool's a dog. It's the ottoman. I mean,
yeah, the ottoman is
a dog.
But is it really the animal sidekick? It hardly interacts with.
Yeah, I mean, in my mind, the animal sidekicks are Cogsworth and Lumiere.
And yet
Is that
they
fair?
are not animals. No, I think we have to toss it out.
All right, that one's tossed out too. Aladdin, here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Raja.
Yes. Yeah. That's
So
right.
I guess, and Iago.
Yeah, it's got 3.
It's got 3. It's got 3 good ones. Okay, Lion King. Here's another kind of gray area.
I mean, they're all animals, and yet I would say Timon and Pumbaa.
Right. Is Zazu also an animal sidekick?
He's not really an animal sidekick so as much as like an animal authority figure. Like if he wasn't a bird,
Yeah, it's a good point.
if the Lion King were with people, I don't think we'd count Zazu.
Yeah, that's true. I guess maybe we need to quickly define what like the role of the animal sidekick is. Like,
Yes.
is it because this may change what we consider as the animal sidekick from Beauty and the Beast? Are these? Is the Little Mermaid not on here?
The Little Mermaid
Little
is not,
Mermaid's
'cause it
the
came
80s.
out
It's
in
all right, it's all
89.
right, it's all right, okay.
So I would say an animal sidekick is like the confidant of
Yes.
the main character. They are an avatar to which, because it'd be weird if the main character was talking to themselves all the time.
Right.
But they express their emotion and stuff like that to this animal sidekick.
And in some ways, the animal sidekick is like comic in some way, right? Like,
Yes.
especially in like this era of Disney film.
And you know that in the final battle, they're going to like jump on a bad guy's face. and,
Right. And they're gonna be like, get it off me. Yeah, that's right. That's right. So Timon and Pumbaa, I think, also pretty high on this
Okay,
list.
yes.
I think they're good.
Uh-huh.
Pocahontas,
Miko, the raccoon.
the raccoon.
And then there's a hummingbird.
There's a hummingbird,
I
too.
can't remember the name of the hummingbird.
Yeah, me neither. I feel like this is when they started to go crazy with these things, right?
It's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
I mean, okay, so speaking of which, Hunchback of Notre Dame.
The little gargoyles, right?
Yes, but again, not really animals. Although they look
Right.
animal-esque.
Right.
The main guy has a horse, another horse that he like talks to.
I don't think we can count any horses in this.
So I guess Hunchback we're throwing out. No animal sidekicks.
No animal sidekicks.
High on the list of gargoyle sidekicks.
Yeah, that's true. Next up, Hercules. Now, I know I said no horses, but Pegasus.
Is a
though.
Pegasus.
Pegasus counts.
So I think
Pegasus, not a horse.
I think it would be Pegasus.
Yeah, that's right. Mulan.
So Mulan,
Is it Mushu?
but she also has a
The
cricket.
right. But
So
okay,
I guess it's Mushu and the cricket.
but the cricket is the cricket a character?
Well, it has a name. I can't remember what the name is, but it probably has a name.
Does it?
And is Mushu like?
Is Mushu maybe too much of a character? Mushu is basically the genie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe there isn't one.
I think it's the cricket. I think it's just low on the list.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
And then Tarzan.
Also going to get us in trouble because it's mostly animals.
Right. But Turk,
Oh boy, Turk.
the Rosie O'Donnell character,
Right, and the Wayne Knight elephant, whose name I forget.
with a T maybe. It's not Turok.
No, I think you're just thinking of Turk again.
Oh yeah, maybe I am.
Bottom of the list.
Bottom of the list. Maybe above the Mulan cricket.
Yeah, because I think like, what is there to like about he's lucky, right?
Yeah.
He's a lucky cricket.
Has attitude. I don't think likes Mushu. That's my
No.
memory of this.
No, does anyone really like in the Mulan universe? Does anyone like Mushu?
No, I don't think so.
Mulan puts up with it.
Well,
I guess we'll never know.
I think Aladdin's up there.
Aladdin's
somewhere.
definitely up there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Apu is great. We were accompanied today by an ensemble at the Musical Instrument Museum in Phoenix. All right, Mark, let's get into the news.
On Monday morning, yesterday, Nintendo announced a new Indie World showcase for Wednesday, November 9th at 9 a.m. Pacific Time. The announcement promised roughly 25 minutes of information about indie games coming to Switch. And since we are doing part 2 of our ranking the Zelda opening chapters or intros, we will not be talking about it on Thursday, but we will be covering it in our news episode next week.
Right. So, in the meantime, obviously, we don't know anything else about what's going to be in this thing. Would you like to speculate about whether we see Sports Story, Sea of Stars, or Hollow Knight Silksong?
So I feel like the trend has been, we see it at the announcement, right? It's like made a big deal in the Indie World Showcase, but we haven't really, have we seen them really come back before release, or they just like get release dates?
Usually they just get release dates. To be fair, I don't think Sea of Stars has actually been featured in any Nintendo stuff. But this is the RPG from the developers of The Messenger. That looks really cool, and I'm very excited about it. It's possible it doesn't even come to Switch.
I'm pretty sure it has been in an Indie World Showcase.
All right.
But I think it was after they had like the Kickstarter. Like I think it may have been earlier this year, like at the beginning of 2022. So I think all of these were announced at an Indie World Showcase. Now some of like Hollow Knight Silksong, it's been long enough since we've seen anything about it that maybe it's big enough that we would get like an update on it before the release.
I think it needs a pop before it's released. I kind of feel the same way about Sports Story too, because it was supposed to come out like last year, like 2021 at some point. So like it's been a while.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe they do. I also feel like we're at the point with indie games where I have no idea what to expect from the Indie World Showcases, because, you know, when the Switch first came out, there were a ton of heavy-hitting indie games that hadn't been on a Nintendo console. So it was cool when they were all coming to Switch. But I feel like the ones that I was aware of anyways that are like missing on the Switch's library have long since been released.
Yeah. Well, and, you know, it's games coming to the Switch is always like some kind of exciting. The real exciting stuff is when it's like something new you didn't know about and looks like fun or is cool or whatever.
And is like releasing right now.
I mean, we went through the new releases, but there could be other games coming out on Wednesday that we just don't know about yet. So yeah, that's something that we'll be tuned into and be very excited to discuss with you next week.
Also, today at 6 a.m. Pacific time, the latest Pokemon Violet and Scarlet trailer was released. Obviously, we're recording this before that. The Pokemon Twitter account said, quote, "You won't want to miss this" in the announcement. So I don't know, maybe something big was announced this morning, but also maybe that's just a normal thing that they say when a trailer is about to be released.
Yeah, I mean, some of the language around these Pokemon like teaser trailers has been like very dramatic. The last reveal of like the dog ghost type Pokemon, whereas like a body was discovered because the dog ghost just like sucks your soul out while it hangs out with you. So like, yeah, it's killing people. So yeah, I anticipate that this is just them being like, you won't want to miss this, and then it'll be like a pun on missing something or whatever when it finally comes out. But we're getting real close to the release of.
We are. I feel like there's like a real like deluge of Scarlet and Violet stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
I think when I wrote this out, I wrote without looking it up. I wrote Pokemon Violet and Scarlet, and then when I was saying it, it felt wrong. Because isn't it Scarlet and Violet?
Oh boy, I think you can say it either way, right?
No,
it's two different games.
That is
Pokemon
so
Scarlet
crazy.
and Pokemon Violet.
I refuse to be a person who calls it
Pokemon
like
Blue and Red,
Moon and
Pokemon
Sun.
White and Black.
No, it's gross, and I won't stand for
Shield
it.
and Sword.
This podcast has to stand for something. We have to have standards, no matter how low.
We have so many standards. We have so many things that we have to say like all the way through or together or whatever. We can mess up the order of the Pokemon games.
I refuse. We got some new details about the Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope DLC last week. All 3 sets are available as part of the season pass for $29.99. But the second and third sets can also be purchased individually. So here's some language from the Ubisoft press release describing the different sets. So in the Tower of Doom...
That's 4 O's. Doom.
Madame Boistrella needs Mario, Rabbid Peach, and their friends to clean her multi-dimensional tower and save their old friend Spawny. This first DLC will add a new combat game mode where you will face highly strategic battles as you make your way to the top of the tower. And it's coming early 2023, exclusive to the season pass.
So does that the first DLC will add a new combat game mode? Does that read to you like it is just a like less story based and more just like a challenge tower kind of thing?
It does kind of read that way to me. But the second DLC pack, and this is again quoting from Ubisoft, will take our heroes to a brand new planet, explore new environments, meet fun characters, discover secrets, and face off against new enemies. And that's like a mid-2023 release.
This is I with not an official entry in the segment of great moments in copywriting, but this is the most you could the most words you could say about a video game and say nothing at all. Explore new environments, meet fun characters, discover secrets, and face off against new enemies. That's a video game.
Well, and then the third DLC pack, again, quoting, Rayman will join forces with Rabbid Mario and Rabbid Peach. You will be able to control Rayman and follow our heroes as they explore a new and mysterious place. And that one is late 2023.
So all of this is coming out in 2023, be it early, mid, or late. And it's all available for $30. I am still have not purchased this game.
Same.
Still interested in playing it.
Yep.
Still interested in paying way less for it than what they're asking at the moment. I went to check on the price for the season pass, and pulled up the deluxe version of Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope. I think they call it like the gold edition or something like that. And was like a little bit. There was like a moment where I was like. Because it said $90, $89.99, which is the season pass plus the game itself. That's so much money.
Yeah, it is, especially when you combine it like that.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, if it's like, I'm paying $60 and then I'm also paying $30,
right?
It doesn't.
Then I can.
There's
then
no
I
like
can
sticker
grok
shock.
it,
Yeah.
But yeah, for whatever reason, I was like, oh my god, $90.
But I'm really interested in like what happens around Black Friday, because usually I buy the majority of Switch games digitally. I think I own 2, maybe 3 like game carts, including like Ring Fit Adventure is one of them. But I would buy this physically if it drops, in price for Black Friday. Because sometimes like digital doesn't drop at the same time or like all that kind of
totally.
stuff. I only kind of like vaguely remember the DLC rollout for the first Mario plus Rabbids game, and so this may be like an incredibly ignorant statement, but I feel like this kind of follows the pattern that we saw before, and maybe I'm just focusing on like having that big new story thing that is kind of seems bespoke from the main game.
Sure.
In that third pack, like we did with the Donkey Kong.
Yeah. I mean,
Kingdom Battle.
I do remember there being like challenge rooms sort of things released first, and then Donkey Kong later. This may be like adding a step here where there's like the little intermittent the second pack, take our heroes to a brand new planet. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe that's also just kind of challengey. Like it's not they're being light with details on the rest of these things.
Well, Patrick, if you had to guess, and I know you know the answer because you wrote this news item.
That's right.
If you had to guess what the best-selling game in the Mega Man franchise is, which game would you pick? And sorry, there's no time to answer because I'm telling you right now, it's Mega Man 11.
A surprising answer.
Yeah, new data from Capcom puts Mega Man 11 sales numbers at over 1.6 million as of September 30th, 2022, making it the best-selling Mega Man game and the 67th best-selling Capcom game of all time.
So a little surprising to me. Mega Man 11, a game that I very much liked, but I wasn't like seen as or was like critically wasn't as well received as Mega Man's 9 or 10 or like a lot of the classic ones. And so it's just sort of interesting that would be the one to like break out to the extent that it even is a breakout. 1.6 million is a respectable like that's good, but like it's also, I don't know, I guess I had in my head that like Mega Man is like a king seller, and like no, it's a niche product.
I mean, I completely agree with you. Like 1.6 million, nothing to sniff at. The previous record holder was Mega Man 2 at 1.51 million copies, released in 1988 for the NES. But Mega Man, I guess, has just like loomed so large in classic gaming.
Yeah.
In the classic gaming space, that it is funny to me that the best-selling one previously was just a little over 1 million copies.
Yeah, well, and like some of that you can attribute to like just the expansion in like the gaming market, right? That like more people play games now than they did in 1988. Like that's just mathematically the market that you're selling into is bigger. but it's since the gaming habits that like got people interested in Mega Man were forged in 1988, it seems like that's just about where the ceiling for that type of game is in like 1.5-ish million. 1.6 obviously is what Mega Man 11 sold. But yeah, it's just like if they put out a new like 2D Mario game and it sold 1.6 million, they'd be like, ugh, like that's a real problem.
Yeah. I wonder if Mega Man 2 sold like 1.5 million copies, I wonder what like Mega Man 6 was
Yeah.
Or even like it almost makes sense that they stopped making Mega Man games for a while.
Oh,
because if
yes.
like the sales like dropped off a cliff, you're like, oh yeah, what is the incentive to continue to do this?
Yeah, I mean it is a great point. So I was a little, I thought there's no way that Mega Man 2 has only sold 1.51 million copies. So I went into like some of the deeper numbers, because they must not be counting the Mega Man Legacy Collection as sales of Mega Man 2.
Patrick knighting up for Mega Man 2.
Mega Man 2 has bigger sales power than is being represented here, because Mega Man Legacy Collection Volume 1 has sold an estimated 1.2 million copies, and it includes Mega Man 2. So, and some of that's based on like some soft math, but Capcom producer Kazuhiro Tsukaya in 2019 said that the Legacy Collection 1 and 2 together had sold 2 million copies, and based on the like proportions between them, we can assume that it sold about 1.2 million copies. But even still, there's no way that Mega Man 2 sold fewer than 300,000 copies.
The righteous indignation of a Mega Man 2 fan.
It's a classic game. So anyway, the question is, where's Mega Man 12?
I know. I mean, it's a fair question. You have the best-selling Mega Man game of all time. It feels like you got to build on that momentum, which I'm sure my mind immediately went to Metroid, and I hope Nintendo's listening, because the same thing is true. You just had the best-selling, like Metroid game. Right. You can't let that languish.
This is also just interesting to consider. We've got the Mega Man Battle Network collections coming out on Switch and other platforms in maybe next year. I forget. I think there were dates for them, but I don't remember. But I wonder what their expectations are for those, right?
Right,
like,
yeah.
You would think that, or I would think that the like most popular of the Mega Man Legacy collections would be, and their sales number bear this out, the original Mega Man Legacy Collection, with that 1.2-ish million copies. And like, if everything else is sort of aiming to sell less than that, it's just kind of an interesting sales proposition.
Yeah. And I guess, not that it takes no effort to make these collections, but my guess is that it probably is a lot less than developing a new game.
That's true.
So
plus Digital Eclipse is always looking for something to do, so like, get them on board. You can Capcom has on their website their list of platinum sellers, which is what they call anything that sold over 1 million copies. And so like you can go through the list, and it's something like 111 games or something like that they have sold over 1 million copies, and you can just see like they have them all like ranked out there of all these games, and the top of the list is like Monster Hunter World, right? And then Resident Evil 7, yeah. And it's crazy to see like how well those sell compared to the games that I think of as their like marquee, the Street Fighters and the Mega Mans. And it's just like no, those are their either second or third or fourth tier games, where like the real money makers are Resident Evil and Monster Hunter.
Yeah, like Monster Hunter World's like tens of millions of copies.
Yeah, it's like 60 something. Yeah, it's crazy.
Nintendo announced their Black Friday deals for this season in North America, the cornerstone of which is once again the Nintendo Switch with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe bundle for $299.99, including a 3-month Nintendo Switch Online account, but not like the expansion pack. And the Joy-Con are red and blue, saves you approximately $70. And this has been Nintendo's Black Friday bundle for at least like 4 years running now.
Yeah, which hard to argue with. I mean, Mario Kart is a system seller. Wasn't a system seller for the for the Wii U, but what are you gonna do? So yeah, I mean they may as well keep doing this, especially when it is a game that motivates people to go online. So they're likely to extend their NSO subscription, and which has this very appealing DLC that people could either spend money on or subscribe to the expansion pass.
Speaking of which, we probably should be getting those new tracks
Pretty soon,
in
yeah.
a few weeks.
Mhm.
Also, they're offering $20 off select software, including Mario Party Superstars, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Animal Crossing New Horizons, The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, Fire Emblem Three Hopes, and Bravely Default 2.
So I want to pause on these because, as always, Nintendo games, Nintendo first-party games, don't go on sale all that frequently. $20 off is a significant price cut. I have in our notes here that $40 is a great price for Link's Awakening. Like, I think that's probably how it should have been priced from the get-go. A great game and a great version of the game. Totally worth it for $40. Mark, Fire Emblem Warriors Three Hopes. I played the demo of this game and really liked it, but had a hard time like justifying spending $60 on it. I can justify spending 40. I can do that. I think I'm gonna do it.
We love to dabble in Muso games.
We love to dabble in Muso games. Here's the thing. I always like to dabble in them, and then I'm like, man, I'm done. And it's usually before like the like intro thing is done, before any demo would be up. I was really enjoying myself at the end of Three Hopes, the demo for Three Hopes. So I'm hopeful that when I do get it, that I will have fun with it.
3 hopeful. 33% off on these games, which normally they're not like the $60 games like WarioWare Get It Together. Normally 33% off right now. Big Brain Academy, Brain versus Brain, also 33% off. And then $40 off of Mario Kart Live Home Circuit. The like AR, I guess it's not really AR. Kind of.
Yeah,
AR?
sure it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. And then digital savings are also incoming, but not detailed yet.
Not detailed yet. Anything look good in here to you, Mark? Is there something that you're expecting or that you would want?
So the problem with all of this is that, I generally just buy Nintendo first-party games if I'm interested in them from the get-go.
Right.
So there aren't very many on this list that I'm interested in that I don't have. But, with this new, to me, Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope strategy, I'm still holding out a Spark of Hope for a Black Friday deal.
Spark of Three Hopes. I think Black Friday is a little early for Sparks of Hope deal, but we'll see, right? Like time will tell on that.
I am kind of counting on like January timeframe.
Yeah,
It's probably when I'll end up picking up the game.
That's what I think too.
The remake of Front Mission First finally has a concrete release date of November 30th.
This was, we've been seeing these things in Indie World showcases, or not Indie World, third-party showcases, partner showcases from Nintendo for a little while. So it's neat that we finally have a release date. This is a Square Enix mech-based tactical RPG. What a weird release date, November 30th. It's the Wednesday after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
It's a weird dead zone. Like, it's not quite Black Friday, and it's obviously not getting a physical release, so like maybe that doesn't matter. But what do release dates even mean anymore?
Yeah. I don't know, especially for like a game like this.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway, November 30th.
Finally, a set of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. There we go. Got it right. Because it was written for me that way. A set of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet cross Splatoon 3 Splatfest keychains were revealed as My Nintendo physical rewards last week. They cost 550 platinum points and naturally like sold out in minutes.
Yeah, they're just gone. If there's a plan to restock them or whatever, that has not been made clear. But yeah, you can't get them.
They were cool. I am assuming that they are grass, fire, water written out in like the Splatoon language with a little icon of the starters from Scarlet and Violet.
Right.
And I actually I thought they were really cool looking, but yeah, sold out almost immediately. Kind of crazy that they made these physical merchandise for a Splatfest.
Yeah. It's such a like that's something that like the whole Splatfest like concept and like buying into your specific team's like identity is like so built into what Splatoon is, but like the fact that there's a physical object that you can like represent that is very interesting, and I sort of can't believe they did it and then also sold out of it right away. But I guess that's sort of just the power of both Splatoon and Pokemon at the same time.
Yeah, I bet you're right. Also, a good reminder that the starter type Splatfest begins this Friday, November 11th, and goes through the weekend.
All right, Mark, let's get out of the news. That is going to do it for this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. Remember, please rate, review, and follow us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. If you like the episode, you should share it on Facebook or Twitter, as long as Twitter still exists. We appreciate it when you do that. You can follow us on Twitter, again, while it still exists. I'm at Patrick_Ellers. Mark is at MK Mitchell, and the show is at Cart Society. There's also a Facebook page, which is just Nintendo Cartridge Society. Anthony DeLuca made our logo. Our theme music is provided by Apipetty. You can get more of his music by going to apipetty.com or by listening right now. For my co-host, Mark Mitchell, this is Patrick Eller saying thank you for listening.